Presidential candidate of DASO, SASCO, and EFFSC. So now I'm going to give you gentlemen 5 minutes to present your party manifesto. I'm going to start with you, EFF.
Oh,
Come closer to the mic a little bit.
now I want
5 minutes now.
people.
5
I want
minutes.
people to understand that this is the manifesto of the students. That is not our manifesto as the EFF. We went to various residencies, majority of them, off and on campus. Many residencies simply because we managed to reach thousands of students and registered their concerns. Now, this is what we're bringing forward. We're bringing this forward when we assume power. This is what we're going to speak unto. Number one, under academics, we're saying we want a 24-hour library. Now, one might be aware that 2014 there was a presidential candidates debate. People have been speaking unto this. It is DASO, SASCO. They've been saying they want a 24-hour library. It has never happened even today. Do you know why? They don't have a proper and progressive strategy in terms of attaining this 24-hour library. We're saying that the EFFSC was very militant with this. We're saying that we are going to take our bags, go to the library. When it's 10 o'clock, we don't go out. That is the only way we can attain this. It is simply because now we're serious about education. We're serious. We're asking for a mere 24-hour library. Just want to start. We're saying we want a free, academic record printer because it makes no logical sense whatsoever. They are denying you the opportunity. It makes sense because you want to be funded. You want to pay the institution. Let them give you, give the students their results so that they can get a funding, and check their progress. We're saying that we want to increase the bailout fund. It must be increased. Because now this loan shed system of NSFAS, delays. Want the bailout fund to be increased so that in the meantime, while if funding, is sokolisa upopa, we're saying we can, as EFFS, assist in students in that nature. We're saying free registration for students who qualify for NSFAS. Now, there's a narrative here, a distorted one, that the program of the opposition of right to learn, they even said publicly that Mzukisi Notoza, I righted learned you. MP said that in front of thousands of students. Now, he's telling the masses that I'm poor. He's bashing and lashing out at me there. He's undermining me. It was now, really now, really, when I can't even now do anything, because now, that boy is struggling there and poor. And MB is telling everyone there, an entire president. Because we can't go to him and ask for assistance, because we know that at the end of the day, what he'll do, he'll tell students, but actually, I'm helping you, I'm feeding you. What kind of a president is that, man? How we are saying also, we want to provide 200 for printing credits. Was remove that TP thing. People can't think, man. We are saying also as EFFSC, we advocate for classes to start at 8.
Okay.
At least I'm not finished. I'm still moving now. Because now, when we speak on issues of this student, we can't be limited to 2 minutes.
No, but
Issues of
that was
black
actually
student.
5 minutes.
Hey,
Thank you very much. We're now going to move over into DASO and we hear what DASO has to say.
Thank you very much. The first thing that we want to realize as the DASO-led SRC is the re-establishment of the SRC Bailout Fund. For the past 2 years, the SRC Bailout Fund has been a joke. Last year, the SRC Bailout Fund was 600,000 rand. This year, the SRC Bailout Fund is also 600,000 rand. And yet, they're both claiming that that's the highest ever released by an SRC budget. In 2015, the SRC Bailout Fund under a DASO-led SRC governance was 4.8 million rand. In 2016, each and every single student that applied for the SRC Bailout Fund was funded. for the first time, the SRC Ballot Fund even went to fund international students. So we are saying that there must be a re-establishment of the SRC Ballot Fund, because the SRC Ballot Fund addresses those students whom are not covered by NSFAS, those students whom are rejected by the NSFAS, but they want to pay their debts for this year and continue with their studies next year. So we want to make sure that that SRC Ballot Fund is re-established so that it provides for the majority of the students who need it. This year we've been faced by the biggest financial aid crisis that we've ever seen in this institution. We have students whom we have never received. Students at the DASO-led SRC that we are going to make sure that all allowances are covered by March, so that by this time of the year, no student is faced by this dilemma that students have faced today. Students are expected to excel academically. Students are expected to go to class. How can those students excel? How can those students go to class on an empty stomach? So we want to make sure that all NSFAS allocations are delivered on time. We also want the expansion of the shuttle service system to include weekends, because there are a lot of students who ride during Saturdays, and the shuttle is not there. So we want to make sure as a DASO-led governance that the shuttle service system is expanded during the weekend. Not only that, but our vision of making the library to be 24 hours, we also want to make the shuttle service system to be 24 hours a day. Because it does not help to have a 24-hour library system, but the shuttle is not 24 hours. So we want to also make sure that that shuttle service system is expanded in weekends and also is 24 hours. We also want to provide free sanitary towels in all residences. All female residences must have access to free sanitary towels for free. We want to also make sure that there is an improvement of the Wi-Fi in accredited residences. Off-campus accredited residences, most of them are being exploited by the property owners who use their Wi-Fis. So we'll make sure that all the Wi-Fi that is being used in accredited residences, the Nelson Mandela University Wi-Fi, because we believe that that will promote academic excellence and more research to students. We also want an SRC that is transparent, an SRC that is vibrant, and an SRC that is accountable. How can we have an SRC that only releases statements of their victories just before election? SRC that has never released reports, SRC that has never released financial statements. We want to make sure that SRC reports to all students, SRC has general meetings each and every quarter, so that the students know the activities of the SRC. One of the biggest things we've faced this year is the fact that all the other councils in the SRC is not working. The Opidani Council, which is the off-campus SRC, is not working and is not known by students. The Residence Council that's supposed to solve residence issues is not known by students. And those councils help in making sure that students are represented, and those councils have failed to do their duties. So we want to re-establish the Opidani Council to make sure that it represents the need of students. We also have a big problem in this institution where we are separated between on and off campus. We've faced a year this year where this governance has prioritized more on-campus students who are on campus more than students who are off campus. And that has created a disunity and segregation of the Nelson Mandela University community. So also want to make sure that we integrate the university. We do not divide the university so that each and every single student can feel home at Nelson Mandela University. Each and every student can identify themselves with the brand and the logo of this university. We also want to make sure that re-examinations are written in December, because there are a lot of students whom want to write their subs, their re-examinations before they go to holiday. That will ensure that students have a well-rested holiday and they do not worry about those re-examinations. We also want to make sure that the transport allowance of those students who reside in the area in their homes is increased. Because when you do our calculations, you find out that that transport allowance does not address the needs of that student. It is too little for them to fund them each and every single day to come to school.
All right.
So we want that increment of a transport allowance.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're now moving over to the SASCO presidential candidate.
Thank you, Nelson Mandela University. I greet you. Political power has always expressed itself as a book, and the programs that one implements was in office. That's why we stand tall to say, from what we have promised to students, our campaign in 2017 was in line with the free registration, which you can be happy to announce that from 26,000 plus students that were here at Nelson Mandela last year, we have gained to 28,830 plus, which means it's a victory on its own on what we have promised to students. We have promised students to allow them to stay in private accommodations without a down payment. And indeed, that thing has been realized. It has never happened even under the leadership of DA, where you have students who are staying off campus, private-owned accommodation without paying any cent. It's an achievement on its own. We have promised students to say, we are going to make sure that we intensify, we are going to make sure that we push the narrative and we push the agenda of one student, one bed. We can gladly so and say, on the 1st of October, the tender has been out, the construction is starting on the 1st of October, of building 2,000 beds on campus. We are building 1,800 here at Nelson Mandela, Port Elizabeth, and then we are building 2,000 George 200 George beds. We are gladly to say, from the achievement that we promised students, because we have realized that there's an issue with NSFAS, which is a countrywide crisis. Through us attending the meetings of SAUS, through us making sure that we are engaging the university, we have went to street for 3 days. We have engaged the university. The university donated through our intervention 4.3 million, which goes to Intellimali, and students received Intellimali. They can confess, they can affirm that they did receive Intellimali. It has never happened, comrades, ever, because students, they ought to receive SPACs. They don't get Intellimali. But it was through our gaze and through our persuasion from the institution. That is why we have now advanced diploma students with NSFAS loan, with the university funding. It has never happened. They are not supposed to receive any funding. Through our FATT meetings, we have made sure that we engage the universities, then they are granted opportunity to receive funding. We have made sure that in whatever that we have promised, was we went to the former Mayor Trollip, asking him that because there's a crisis of students who do not have funds, can you at least contribute a minimum of 1 million rands? Make sure that you buy the old buildings for increase of rates in the municipality, so that students can stay there in residences that are owned by the state. He never did so. He only came 9 days before the SRC elections, after the vote of no confidence from the metro, to say he must leave, he's not doing good. He just came and met his own leadership, DASO, to say, we're bringing you hungry minds, we're going to donate food 9 days before SRC elections. I'm like, where were you the whole year when we were suffering? We are standing firm to say we have committed on one student, one laptop. One student, one laptop, which costed which costed 155 million, more than 155 million rands. The university has confirmed to give students laptops in the early next year, January. They have adopted the program as its own centenary program of the university now. They are saying that idea because it is in line with the 4th industrial revolution, because we are moving more on the digitalization, but everything we need to work through internet. We don't have to use textbooks more. So they've been persuaded by us, they've adopted it. So students from next year, when they are registering, going to get a driver's license, we have agreed with the university to make a learners so far.
All right.
A learners as a module, and we are still trying to find out about the cost of a driver's license.
Okay.
Because
okay, let's go with
time.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to have to ask each and every one of you to get ready with your questions and give them out to each one. Yeah? So one is going to present their questions to one another, and then I'm going to give you like 3-4 minutes to respond to those questions, and then we're okay. Are you fine?
no, must ask. I want to ask them. They must ask me.
No, I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask questions to one another. That's what I'm saying, yes. So First, you're going to have the opportunity to give questions to DASO and EFFSC, and then just after you, DASO is going to question you and the EFFSC, then EFFSC questions you too.
So we're starting with that.
No, you are starting.
Or they are going to ask me.
No, you're going to ask them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or, okay. Let me first start with the DA, DASO. DASO, you ran away from the Fismas Fall 2015. You ran away from the Fismas Fall 2016, where we achieved insourcing, where we achieved free registration, a debt relief project. Now you want us to, you ran away in 2018 again, because you're nowhere to be found. You only came now with your mom, Helen Zille. How can we trust you as students? What is it that you are going to do better? Because you are nowhere to be found. And why now? Why are you only coming now? Where were you in the whole year?
Okay.
The FF.
Okay, cool. Go on.
Leadership. I remember him when in January, he was the first year at the university. He's the first year in the university, does not know the processes of the university.
Mm-hmm.
He forms part of the increase from the 4.4% to 16% of postgraduates that have registered in the university. Just to ask you, just go straight on the point. When you're excluded in the university, where do you go and which?
You're asking your questions. No, sir. This is how I'm going to conduct this debate. Thank you very much. Go on. No, use this one.
Thank you very much. My first question will go to SASCO. The then President Jacob Zuma pronounced free education last year in 2017. How then can you claim the issue of free registration if there is free education? Because it cannot be that there is free education and then first years are going to pay down payment for registration. Free education means free registration as well. How do you claim that victory as a SASCO mandate? The second thing is that, based on your report in the SRC, SASCO-led SRC has spent more than 2 million rand on parties. More than 2 million rand on parties. Of that 2 million rand, 1.1 million rand is completely wasteful expenditure. For the first time since 2016, an event has went above 250,000 rands. We have spent 500,000 rands on Freshet. We have spent 500,000 rands on Campus Life. What has the SRC budget done to make sure that students don't go hungry during the month of February and March?
Okay.
To the EFFSC. EFF, we've never seen you on campus. There is nothing that the EFFSC Student Command in any year can say this is a victory of Student Command in opposition. I've always told the Student Command that there are problems that they do not have their own self-identity at Nelson Mandela University Student Command. They always hide under the wing of SASCO. When SASCO does a shutdown, they always go. When SASCO does that, they do not have their own identity. So what is your identity as the EFF Student Command? Yet
Once again, thank you, Program Director, for giving me this opportunity to speak and articulate onto the issue of poor and black marginalized students. Now, I must register my disappointment in the narrow understanding. You have an opportunity to ask the EFFSC a privileged question, and then a person just asks you about the flow and exclusion, for students. We know those nitty-gritties and dynamics, but again, this thing, is narrow-minded in their thinking. Now, Program Director, I will never give Uchakalash, a space or a platform to engage with me or and articulate the issues of poor black students. How dare you, Chagalash? How dare you claim to speak onto the issues of poor and black marginalized students? You bring Helen Zille, the person who said colonialism was positive. Now, I won't give an opportunity to ask you or anything, because now it seems like both it's visible that we are lost. You don't have identity, you don't have an understanding.
Okay.
Now, I want to go to MP, to MP. Now, Pamanyan, you are coming here, Chief, to actually say that it's, you are coming with this thing, we registered students and what's so not. It's like now, how do you celebrate? It's like now a parent celebrating that I'm feeding my child. That's your duty as a SRC president. As a duty, now I'm going there. As a duty, that's your duty. These are just administrational victories that is calling out. It's like a mother saying, celebrating that I'm feeding my child. We are supposed to do that. Now, I want to ask you, MB. Ufuna uphinda nje a second term. Ufuna uphinda ntoni? Ufuna uphinda misuse funds. Ufuna uphinda unga-represent students. Ufuna uphinda usidisappointa. Intoni kanye lo iphindayo?
Okay. Okay, then thank you very much. I'm going to give it up upon you, Mr. MB, to respond to first DASO and then to the...
The budget that has been spent on parties.
Okay, so it's free education. That how do you expect people to
It's a free education in parties.
And then the parties, and then the hungry students intervention. What have you done for the hungry students?
It's here in the achievements of us. We have provided 35,000 food parcels at clinic. Students who were waiting for NSFAS, they know each and every Wednesday they usually go and collect parcels. The food parcel that we have asked to former Mayor Trolley in the first semester, which he has not yet delivered. On the issue of free education, you can't run away from the fact that it is us who engage these people. I'm also the provincial chair of SASO. I don't only limit my influence in the institution, but it also becomes an advantage to the university students from Nelson Mandela. Because whatever that we want to achieve in this university, we can also achieve it outside to other stakeholders who are outside. So our intervention comes from that angle. Not in any university outside Nelson Mandela where you have students who did not apply for NSFAS in 2017 who have accessed university. It's only Nelson Mandela where you find out that there are students who only applied for NSFAS through our own system that we have opened in the university that has managed to enter the university.
Okay.
Not in any university where you have students who are earning, senior students who are earning from their own family household more than 125,000 who have access without paying. It's only this university, because free education in the context of the governing part is to say if you're a senior and you are earning, your family household is 125,000 per annum, you don't get free education. No. If you're a first year and your family household is less than 150,000 per annum, you do get a household on the basis that you have applied last year, okay. But we have made sure that we brought up that access.
Okay, now we go on to the parties.
Oh, that one, comrades. Students, we are the only SRC, and we have made sure that we call local DJs, we call local artists that are still developing. Because in our manifesto, we have said it very clear that we want to open opportunity for black business. We want to open opportunity for student entrepreneurship. So we have made sure that in those arrangements, all we were doing was to make sure that we hire, we call local artists, we develop them so that as well they can be at a national level. Okay. So it said we have a bigger picture on what is it that we want to do. If you have locals playing with national, which means next year or in few years to come, they will go and play national because they have influence, but they don't get exposure. So that is why we always make sure that we provide and we produce others to go and play and to give them opportunity.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. Now I'm going to give you, Daso, to respond to the question of where were you when it was Fees Must Fall? All the Fees Must Falls, where were you?
Yeah. The events of Fees Must Fall are well documented. We never ran away from Fees Must Fall. In fact, The current proposal that is being used by the government of Fees Must Fall is a proposal that we sent as DASO. SASCO and EFS proposal was that there should be free education for all. Where the first one is DASO, unpopular as we saw, to say that there must be free education for the poor. Second thing is that earlier this year, we ran a program called Sacking Gomso campaign, where on the 3rd of January, we had 190 students administering, promoting access in this institution. After that, we are faced by an issue of BTech students whom have completed their diplomas. But when they go and want to do their BTechs, they cannot be funded by NSFAS because that BTech does not fund them. We as an organization released a memo and spoke to the university management to say it is unfair that we have students who complete their diplomas but cannot go and continue with their BTechs. We raised a campaign around that in January. And we raised 3.2 million rand as DASO, where those BTech students was funded 9,000 rand towards their tuition, 5,000 rand towards their book, and 5,000 rand towards their food. After that, in March, when students were hungry, DASO ran a Hungry Minds campaign. We didn't do this Hungry Minds campaign 9 days before election. We did this Hungry Minds campaign in March, where we donated food parcels of the month of March and April for over 300 students. After that, we went to the Dean of University, credits those students with money from their coffer so that students, meanwhile they're still waiting for their allowances, they are able to sustain themselves, and the university approved that around May. That is what DASO has done as an organization. We're one organization that has been consistent on the issue of NSFAS. We do not speak about NSFAS when the politics benefits us. We've spoken about NSFAS since January up until now. And the reason why we're doing our Hungry Minds campaign is that still today, there are students who may have not received their NSFAS allowances, and the SRC speaks nothing of that. Those students are about to write their second trimester test and they write their exams. That is why as an organization we said, meanwhile we are still solving their NSFAS issues, let those students at least have something to eat.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for engaging us in response to those questions. We're now going to I apologize, sir. We can now go on.
Once again, thank you, Program Director. Now, this is the problem here, fellow students. The problem of becoming institutionalized activists. This is the problem. The problem is that you ask, you are being asked questions, like this one of M. Bamanya, asking me about a mere flaw. Now I won't entertain that. Because he's reducing the student comma, can I be protected? Can I be protected?
Where do you can I be protected? We're gonna give you an opportunity now.
Can I be protected?
Answer question.
Now we're faced with a dilemma here, of being an institutionalized activist, only limiting activism with students, on a broken door, on a floor, because it doesn't matter, because a floor can change. Where they find, the offices, they change over time. So now you cannot register and limit yourself to one particular room. We can do that. Now to answer the question of where were we, of Andy Lecharala, we've been here. We have a program that was adopted nationally, Sizofunda and campaign. Now, WMB, is misleading these students to actually say it is only here at this university, whereby students, who did not apply last year, they did not apply for another, through us, as the EFFSC, Sizofunda Genkan, we unleashed a campaign. Actually said that, but our problem is the EFF Student Command. We don't help students and then command and mandate them to actually go and say to them, go to Facebook and write EFFS. We don't do that.
Okay. Now, I just want to make sure that we answer each other's questions. Have you answered or reflected on the question raised by Mr. Bamani here, that which floor do you go to for?
I just want to know about when you're a student, because this is the future of students. The future of students, I just want to know, because he's new in this university, I just want to know if does he understand where do we go when we're a student, so that
Okay.
students can have faith as
Okay.
well.
It's all right.
So we want to know that simple,
Okay.
simple.
Cool. Thank you. Go on.
Chair,
Mm-hmm.
Chair, can we
Mm.
please, Chair, let us not.
We want to
let us
trust
not,
you.
because now, Chair,
We want to give you
Chair.
trust. Can you tell us?
All right.
No, Chair, can I be allowed to speak?
No,
Chair?
Kaloku, you need to get into
Oh,
the
yeah.
point. You can't
You know-
share me all the time.
We want to
You're
trust
gonna,
you.
Come
no,
on.
Chair,
This is the future of students.
No, hold on, MB.
now, the problems that I hear, that students that are faced with are so prevalent to the extent that even the first they can see that our SRC, is incapacitated to incorporate and deal with issues of these students. Because now they have an opportunity to engage with us. They are asking about a floor.
Okay,
Next
thank you
thing
very
they'll
much.
ask me
Thank
how
you,
many
thank you,
toilets are
thank
here
you,
in
thank you
Nelson
very
Mandela
much.
University.
Thank you.
No,
Okay.
Chair, this is
Now I'm
wrong.
gonna have to give you. We only have 5 minutes before the end of our conversation. So I just want to ask a few questions from Daso. In fact, it's 2 questions from my own view of the manifesto and everything. So in your bid to increase tutorials and summer or winter schools, are you aware of the financial standings of the university, or is the government subsidy enough in this regard? And then my second question is, safety is a very important point of concern in this institution for everyone, and it's everyone's duty, especially the student representative structures, you guys here. It's your responsibility to make sure that everyone in this university is safe, especially if you representing students. So why has it only taken you this point in time to say you're going to intensify security? This goes for you too, Saskia, because I see this is a common proposal from each and every one of these political parties. Why now only?
I will answer you from the last question. Currently in the SRC, we have the portfolio of Safety and Security Office. That Safety and Security Office, I'm pleased to announce that for the first time in this university, they ran campus. Because last year, when there was an incident of a rape of a student, we were the only organization that is said that the fence at 2nd Avenue is too low and anyone can jump on that fence. Through Leonard Malesa, our safety and environmental officer, who advocated that fence, there must be a new fence in that 2nd Avenue campus. To go to the issue of SIs, it is the sole responsibility of the institution in making sure that students succeed in this university.
Okay.
We do have a proposal that will cut costs in terms of how SIs are done. We do have a proposal that will make sure that the SIs of students are actually increased, because at the end of the day, as much as we promote access in this institution, the Student Representative Council must be the barrier to make sure that all students succeed.
Okay.
So as the SRC will make sure that those SIs for highly paid modules are achieved.
Okay then. Mr. MB, there's also one question I want to ask from you. There's quite a lot of allegations against you by DASO that we've heard this morning, and some of your responses we've heard. There's one that concerns me so much, that you are affiliated or you protected by the Dean of Students and the Office of the Dean. What is your stance on this one?
Those are new news to me.
Mm-hmm.
But what I know, because I did not listen too much on the press briefing.
Okay.
But what I know is that I was accused of taking flights using the SRC funds going to South meeting, which is a South African union that is recognized by the Department of Higher Education, which is funded by Department of Higher Education. Our flights are booked by Department of Higher Education when we attend the South meeting.
Are there documents that can prove that this is actually what's going on? Can we
all,
get them?
Yes. All invitations, they are sent straight to the Vice Chancellor.
Okay.
They are not sent to us. It's the Vice Chancellors who say, you have a meeting on this particular day. Because the Vice Chancellors even themselves, they have their own committee. SRCs, they have their own committee. So the South committee is under the one that is convened by all Vice Chancellors.
Okay, let's go on to our second question now quickly.
Okay. The second question is the issue of security.
Mm-hmm.
Safety and security.
Yeah.
Is lying. Leonard has never been there in the SRC. Don't even lie. 2nd Avenue started to be developed after there was a rape incident. We made sure we closed the university, made sure that we push security task team. There's no one else that sits there outside myself, Nobubele Puza, the Dean of Students, Mr. Ngapanyi, and Ben, who's the Director of Securities. We have made sure that we implement the strategy. In fact, it was us who were going to rest, telling students about the new strategy of going to Costin, we are going to Missionville. We have engaged the municipality when Trolip was in charge, but it delayed us.
Okay.
But probably after Bobani, we are going to achieve many things.
Okay.
But there is a new strategy through our own service, the SRC and the DVC. Students know we've been going to rest explaining this thing. I'm speaking about something that students know. There are many things that they want to do that we've already done, like shuttles.
Okay.
Many more.
Okay.
We're moving.
I know that this is a very serious one, that of the bailout thing, that of the bailout, that we everyone wants to increase the bailout fund and so forth and so forth, and everyone that is working towards the success and the progress of a student's academic record and academic life has the opportunity to go forth to the dean, to go forth to the university and say, no, this actually is not okay for us. Because I remember towards the beginning of August, during the March season, EFFSC came forth and said we have a problem with the living conditions in off-campus residences and so forth. Why then could you not have came forward and say, no, but there's a problem with the bailout fund? Why do you wait only for this present moment?
Thank you, Chair, Program Director. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, for being the only person to ask, a question, a progressive one, without clowning and telling lies and what's so not. I agree. Now, Program Director, I want to correct you on something, to actually say we're only coming forward now. We've been engaging with the dean. We've been engaging with the dean on numerous bases. We have engaged with the dean. We have sent the dean a list of demands. We've sent, the dean of his students. This one is disturbing me. I'll just answer you. Who's the dean? That is Jack, the dean of SASCO, not the dean of the student. Because we must render him now, but he's incapacitated. Now. We've been engaging with the dean on numerous occasions, on issues, on many issues, not only on the issue of a bailout.
Yeah.
Now we've been engaging with him, but the problem is that when we are not in power, because now we're not in power yet. That is why the dean is very arrogant in terms of responding to us as the student command. Because now you might not numerous times, but the problem is that we are not in power yet. That is why some of the issues that we speak unto, are not fixed simply because we're not in power yet.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, a question that goes to both of you before I let you guys go on and respond to some of the problems that you have, some of the concerns you have problems with. I'm going to attend to you now. I just want to know, when are we then to say, or who is one to decide if whether these spendings are okay and not overspendings? Because then I know there's a problem within the three of you about spendings, the current SRC spending so much, and then the other saying, no, this is too much, and then the other saying this is too much. EFF, let me start with you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, funds, we understand that we're social beings, by profession, I'm a sociologist. I understand, that socialization is very important. That we need to socialize, and not become bookworms. Because when you study all the time and don't have a social life, you start to be depressed and what's so not. We need to socialize. I don't disagree with that. But we have a dilemma here. The SRC, funds are being misused here under the narrative that we must socialize. At the end of the day, we're young people. That is wrong. That is very wrong.
What is wrong?
Because now having parties, they spend almost 2 million on parties. Almost 2 million on parties.
Let's get to the answer. What is the right amount to spend on parties?
Now, you agree now. Let us first deal with the issues of the students before we even begin to host events and what's so not. Because now we have many students that have been received their allowances from NSFAS. And then SASCO just had a party this weekend, but the students are still hungry out there. But the only thing, I'm a social being, the only thing The only thing really SASCO that is good at, I can give it to them. Give it to them. The only thing they know how to do is partying, spending money recklessly, and negate students. And then what they do, they bring celebrities here. You know, Umbalula can never articulate the problems of students at Nelson Mandela University. Helen Zille can never do that. Utrolip can never do that. That is why, as the EFFC, we're doing this on our own. We're not calling any celebrities here.
All right.
Because we know we can articulate the problems of the students. What can Helen Zille articulate?
Okay.
What can Mbalula articulate?
Okay. Thank you.
Apart from wearing Gucci here.
Okay, thank you.
Black coffee to come on campus.
So we don't look into the problems that
For so long students want to have fun, I must provide what students want. The complaint now has shifted from being to say MB is corrupt. Now it's saying they first said most MB is corrupt. Now they are saying MB has used money. Two students. Then the question would be, where must I use this money?
Okay, thank you, MP.
Feed students.
Chakalas.
No, MB, you must feed
No,
students.
no, this is not your time.
Yes.
Yeah?
It is a lie that the SRC budget went to donate 36,000 food parcels. Food parcels in this institution by the campus clinic have been there since 2015. In fact, the DASO-led SRC in 2016 by March raised 250,000 rands to donate to campus clinic for food parcels. We're the only SRC that took money from its budget to donate to the food parcel program of the SRC. Now, DASO has a policy and a code that no SRC event should exceed 250,000. This year we have SRC events that are 500,000, SRC events that are 400,000. Campus life in our the campus call out in our time as DASO, it was 100,000. This year campus life was 400,000 by the SASCO-led SRC. So the amount that should be spent in events must not exceed 250,000 in any SRC event, and the rest of the money should be taken to make sure that students are represented. There are students who are hungry from January up until now. That, by the way, we as DASO has provided them with food parcels. The SRC has never done anything towards the development of a student with the SRC project. They've never had leadership conferences. They've never donated money to students. All they have used with that SRC project is to host parties. How can an SRC have 200,000 for traveling?
Okay.
How can an SRC have 200,000 for traveling? Where are they going? Where are they traveling?
There is a question.
Thank you. I have sponsored all residences to going towards their pageant with SASCO.
It's SASCO, not SRC.
No, gentlemen, behave. Please.
Ask those who are in
hold on,
leadership.
hold on, MB.
Yes.
I just want us to give each other a chance, because I gave given everyone a chance to speak. So this is now time for MB to speak. When it's your time, I'm going to give you time.
Thank you.
MB, you can continue.
Yes, thank you. I'm saying I have sponsored all pageants in this university.
Is this MB personally, or is it the SRC, or
the
is it
SRC? The SRC. They've asked, the SRC is led by SASCO. Now, SASCO does that are reckless. You don't interact with money as an SRC. You write to the student governance. They go to finance as well. Then they check the probabilities. Then they approve, because the university deals with everything that has to do with money, because they know that around this time of the elections, DA is going to come and say the SRC is corrupt, because it has been their strategy. They've done it in 2014. They did it last year again when they said to students, child 400, they are doing it again. You are not going to work.
Is this false? Is this information lie?
It's a lie. It's a lie. In fact, I'm giving everyone, if they are saying MP is corrupt, I'm saying to them, they must go and charge the president. Because if I'm corrupt, I'm misusing students' money, I'm misusing the university money, which means I can, if I'm found guilty, I can be arrested.
Okay.
So it's a one-on-one. I'm going to put it on record as well that I am going to press charges to whoever is saying I'm corrupt, so that I can be found guilty if I'm corrupt. Okay. And if they are lying or the allegations which are not proven, then the show must start.
Okay.
You know, fellow students were in trouble here. Why in trouble here as the students of Nelson Mandela University? It is clear, one can see that when it's election time, they bring celebrities and want to lie to. What's saying that the EFF go to their events, by the way, go to the DA Brai and eat the because we're poor and hungry. What's saying that the EFF, please, students, give us an opportunity to clarify all contradictions that are prohibiting a poor and black marginalized student to be progressive. MB here is incapacitated fellow students. I don't want to even mention this guy here of Chagalash. He brought Helen's letter to us. He's bringing trolley today.
Okay, now sir, before we continue, I don't appreciate anyone insulting anyone here. We all expect to treat each other professionally and respect one another, right? So if one surname is Jagalas, it should not be announced as Jagalas, because Jagalas is something else and it insinuates something else too. Okay?
No, perhaps you had me wrong.
All right.
I didn't
But
say
anyway,
Jagalas. But
okay,
nonetheless, I respect what you are saying.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Because we are not unruly people. You know, if I offended you in any way, because at the end of the day, you are a black. You know, you are a student, you have a future, you know, I love you, but outside of it does really.
Okay. Jagalas, do you have?
Past the financial statement of the SRC, it always goes by the Dean of Students. We have been asking for the financial aid of the SRC, statement of the SRC, from January up until now, and that financial statement has not been released. That is why we're saying that the Dean of Students must release that financial statement so that students can see exactly where their money has went to. So we're not going to come here and entertain people that are spending 200,000 rand on traveling. The Daso-led SRC took shuttles to go to 2nd Avenue. They took shuttles to go to Mission Vale. SASCO has been hiring cars each and every single weekend. They're hiring cars just to move from south to north. They're hiring cars to move from here to Mission Vale. We are students before we are leaders. Being in the SRC is not an access to resources that we must enrich ourselves. Being in the SRC is an access to resources so that we must enrich the students. So that students' quality of life in this institution is improved. Okay. That is why the SRC budget is there, to improve the life and the quality of a student pursuing the academic excellence here in this institution.
Okay then.
Yeah. SASCO is a very big organization. In all, it has a national leadership. It has influence around the country. So when I don't want people to think that when SASCO is doing its own operations, they are using the SRC. You have other provincial leaders in the country.
But you said SASCO does not have a budget.
They are not SRCs. So you are saying they are also using SRC funds. No. SASCO is a very big organization, so people must not, when they are weak, and say that SASCO is using only SRC funds. But this is the message that I want to send to students. That we've registered you in January, we've made sure that you access institutions of higher learning, and we understand that there were hiccups around the issue of NSFAS, which led to us in a formal meeting that we attended of SAWS to make sure that we dissolve the National Board of NSFAS. There are new people in NSFAS. There are agreements with NSFAS to say, if you were affected by NSFAS, come next year, we are not going to ask you a criteria on the basis that we know that the flaw was not on you, but the flaw was on NSFAS itself.
Okay. MB, I have one question here from social media and Twitter, and we have Boti111. She says that the principle of one student, one laptop is a pro-corporation stance that only enhances white capitalism. Is this SASCO stance?
Thank you. The principle of one laptop, one student, test and meal allowances. So you, as a child, getting a laptop, which means we are giving you much more advantage in you broadening up your success as a student. So I don't see it going to white people. And we're going to make sure that whoever going to get that tender is a black guy who owns, who has laptops. Thank you.
Okay, last words from the FFSC before we close off the debate.
Fellow students, I want you to note one thing here.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
You know,
5 minutes.
I just want you to note one thing here. You must not be misled and lied to. You know, and be lied to. Because now, what SASCO is, pronouncing as their achievement, it is achievements of the institution. Like they are hijacking the vision, the 2030 vision of Nelson Mandela University to build a new accommodation here. Now they are hijacking that a vision of the institution, to actually say it is their program of one paper. It is the institution that actually said that they want to create a new residence. You must not be lied to here. Now, fellow students, what I'm saying is that please give us an opportunity, listen to us. We want to speak and engage with you. Let us speak. Let us all solve the issues that we're facing. Because now the status quo, of the poor and black marginalized student here also affects us. It's personal to us as EFF, but we're also suffering financially. Now we can together, bring about solutions, in terms of moving forward. We can come to us, come with suggestions. We'll present our suggestions also. Want to be given an opportunity, because now this thing has been happening for years here. SASCO and DASO, SASCO and DASO. Don't be afraid of change, fellow students. Don't be afraid of change. World is changing, revolving. Now, in such an institution like in Nelson Mandela University, which we still believe that systematically so, it is still the University of Port Elizabeth. Now, in other letters, also with the issue of NSFAS, fellow students, we've been going to Mula, we've been having meetings with him in North Campus. We've engaged with him. We have engaged with him numerous times to actually fix the issue. Now, the problem with SASCO, it is that they can't deal with this issue. They are dealing with the issue of NSFAS administratively so. The problem with dealing with the issue of NSFAS.
Very much. As students, DASO wants an SRC that is united and centered around the struggle of students. For the past 6 SRC contestations, DASO has won 4 times. And that shows the confidence that students have in this organization. Why? In 2012, DASO introduced the shuttle service system. In 2012, DASO introduced the SRC bailout fund that they are talking about today. In 2013, DASO expanded the shuttle service system to include UTNIC. DASO is the very same brain behind the Madibaz Radio. DASO in 2015 made sure that 4.8 million rand is raised towards the SRC bailout fund. DASO in 2016 made sure that each and every single student that applied for the SRC bailout fund was funded. In 2013 and in 2015, DASO piloted the 24-hour library. So for EFF to say there's never been a 24-hour library is untrue. DASO piloted the 24-hour library in 2013 and 2015. We're saying as an organization that by this time of the year, no student should still be waiting for their NSFAS allowances. It is inhumane that students go to class hungry, waiting for their NSFAS allowances. And the SRC has failed in making sure that students receive those NSFAS allowances. I always say, in 2016 and 2015, even though there were NSFAS issues that were unique at that time, but the DASO-led SRC made sure that by June, each and every single issue that has to do with NSFAS was solved. Whether it's statuses, whether it's allowances, whatever it is, appeals as well. We also want to make sure that free sanitary towels are delivered in all female residences, both on and off campus. We also want to make sure that there are more study areas for off-campus students, other than bed streets, that are closer to their residences. We want to also make sure that students who are on campus are not always forced to use the MMS system. By incorporating the MMS system to be able to be used to buy Shoprite, Spar, and other food retailers. Not this thing that students are always forced to go buy at the CAF food that is unhealthy. They also want to make sure that there are re-exams that are written in December. We also want to
there are more lecture-based property owners are exploiting our students. You find out that there is a room there that is worth 1,200, but because the NSFAS cap is 2,750, those rent owners, those property owners, they will charge at that price, not on the quality of their room. We want to make sure that that accreditation policy addresses that, so that students are charged based on the quality of their room, not based on the NSFAS cap, and that will make sure that the rent in this off-campus accommodation has decreased. We want a transparent SRC. When I say transparent SRC, I mean an SRC that will provide its financial statement at any given point in time. An SRC that will publish its reports. By the way, in the SRC constitution, an SRC is supposed to submit reports each and every single term. We have never seen reports of the SRC for the past 2 years when it has been led by SASCO. We have never seen SRC report even this year. We want to make sure that we have an SRC that reports to students as to the activities of students. We also want to channel the funds of the SRC to the democracy that we have in this institution. We also want to make sure that there is the refurbishment of all residences so that students are in a conducive study area. DASO has done this before. The one thing that we're known for as an organization is to deliver service, which is why I'm saying vote for DASO. Your vote for DASO is answering to the cries and the suffering of students.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. One of the nature and character of a student movement is that one of understanding that there is a dialectical observation that universities are a microcosm of the society. We are members of the community before we are students. So it is that broader understanding that makes us to be much more aware of both the transformation agenda in society, education in particular. This is why we always we believe in opening the doors of the result of the pronouncement of the free education by our government for the children from the poor and the working class backgrounds. Further, from moving the registration date several times, the SASCO-led SRC also ensured that free registration for both first years and returning students. The SASCO-led SRC further increased registration of students from 26,589 to 28,552 in 2018. The SASCO-led SRC fought for an increase of 7% for first year's intake to 2019. The SASCO-led SRC increased postgraduate intake from 4% in 2017 to 16% in 2018, including my friend there. The SRC won the fight for funding the Advanced Diploma in PTech by NSFAS and NMU loan. The SRC further negotiated and won the free registration for accommodation and tuition of off-campus accommodated students as on-campus students. During the Right to Rent program, SASCO SRC continued to support walk-ins first year from rural areas with immediate accommodation and food as they continued to fight for their access. These are the untold life-changing stories of our Right to Learn program. We also scored victories in terms of registration access for honor students, and the struggle continues for the rest of the postgraduate students. The student nutrition program, fighting for indignity associated with poverty. SASCO has managed to negotiate with the food bank and small entrepreneurs students and the clinic to make sure that we sit together as a collective, push the project of providing food parcels for students. We have provided more than 35,000 food parcels at clinic. We have assisted students with the Mandela Fund, which is historically known as a bailout fund. The bailout fund, which goes straight to students who passed but who were still waiting for their certificates. Because when you graduate and then you don't have your certificate from the university, which means you can't be employed. So we've made sure that all those students who have applied and all those students who did not manage to enter the university, we paid them through the financial aid. Management, we negotiated to deal with the failures of NSFAS in advancing the cause of free quality education. We've worked in providing 4.3 million as a form to assist students to get in telemali, to get textbooks in the first semester. The SASCO SRC that made for those interventions marks substantive achievement in providing for our students. SASCO-led SRC believe that students are a priority in its agenda. On several occasions, SASCO-led SRC visited scholarship, bursary schemes, and institutions on behalf of to ensure that funding was released to student tuitions, meals, travels, and book allowances. We further student achievement on management negotiation. We have made sure that accommodation becomes a priority. We have around 3,150 on-campus beds plus 800 on-campus beds at the George campus. An additional of 1,800 PE and 200 George on-campus beds to build one on the 1st of October. 7,200 off-campus accredited beds, 95% on NSFAS and bursaries. Renaming of all the on-campus residences. We have renamed all on-campus residences. You are no longer going to get Zanadu, you are no longer going to get Ikamva, you are going to get Kalata, you are going to get other names, revolutionary names.
Thank you very much, MB.
Trying to decolonize the university.
Okay, thank you very much, MB. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time, and we hope that the best men, the best men win this election. I'm still tuned into the Antidote here on Madibaz Radio. It's 30 minutes after 2, and thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you for staying with us. Kelly Kumalo and Sibongile Kumalo are coming up.